Many times when I post stories on my Instagram or I share about all the stuff I'm doing with real estate, I get questions all the time. Hey man, I love what you're doing with real estate. Should I become a realtor? Or what are the, bad things about being a real estate agent? And I think people have this fascination with real estate and houses just because of things like HGTV. Of course, who doesn't love HGTV, where the person is a paperclip collector and they have $1 million budget? Of course, but they have this fascination growing up watching these type of shows, thinking that they want to be a real estate agent. And when they have friends in the industry, that's a very common question that we get as agents. And today I'm going to discuss 5 reasons for you to not become a real estate agent. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Junior Francica and I want to welcome you to the channel. If you guys get any value from this channel and if I answered any of your questions, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and like the channel as well. And also, if I didn't get to anything specifically that you're thinking about, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or any other social media platform. That being said, let's get to today's video. So when we talk about reasons why you should not be a real estate agent, there's many different reasons that we can get into. And today I'm going to talk about 5 specifically. These are kind of the top 5 in my mind why you should not be a real estate agent and why a lot of people either leave the industry or keep them from actually just booming their business as they become agents. And the very first reason is it's way harder than you think it is. So just picture something hard in your mind and it's probably 10 times harder than that. It's very hard to explain, everything that we go through on a daily basis, but it's a really hard industry to get into, and it's a really hard industry to learn all the different aspects of it. When we think about working a job, a lot of the times we work 9 to 5, or that's what we learn in school. So what we actually do is we focus on one particular task. Like I used to be a financial analyst before I became a real estate agent, and I was really good at income statements and balance sheets and all the stuff that had to do with finance. And over time, I got better and better in that one specific thing. But with real estate, you have to do everything, right? There's nobody there holding your hand, showing you the way, helping you with marketing, helping you with finance, HR, accounting. So many different things that you have to focus on makes the business so hard for people, especially when they're starting off, because they come with that 9 to 5 mindset, thinking there's going to be somebody there hand holding them or telling them what to do. So the very first thing is expect it to be hard, and don't expect it to be any different from you than it was for me or anybody else. I'm sorry to say it, you're probably not special to the point that you get your license and you have your phones blowing up with a bunch of leads. It's going to be hard. It's going to take time, but that's going to pay off on the long run. So the very first thing is it's going to be very hard, way harder than you thought it would be. The second point I want to discuss is the typical income you can expect as a real estate agent, right? Now, everybody knows an agent that does so much volume and they make so much money and they drive all these nice cars, they go on vacation, but that's not the case for everybody, right? In my experience is that maybe 90% of the business is done by 10% of the agents out there. A lot of agents are struggling, and a lot of agents honestly, portray this persona of very successful people, but in reality, they don't do a lot of business. So be careful when looking at others in that aspect. But a lot of the business is done by the top 10 or 20% of the people. But let's just take the average numbers as far as income goes so you can see how much money the average agent actually makes. So the average agent sells about 12 houses a year, and that comes out to $49,000-ish a year, right? Depending where you live in the country, $49,000 might be a lot of money, and $49,000 might be barely your mortgage payment. So depending where you are, that will vary drastically, but there's a lot more to it than just making $49,000 a year, right? So if you think about it, 49 grand is not a bad starting point, and to a lot of people, that's awesome. But again, this is the average agent, and that doesn't mean you're gonna make this on your first year. Honestly, you probably won't make this until your second to third year. Let's take something into account. You're making $49,000 a year, you're an average agent, right? Something that we need to know is that we are contractors. So we are not W-2 employees, so the taxes are not taken out from that money. $49,000 is typically after brokerage fees. Sometimes it doesn't even include that. You have to take that out. But let's say it includes after brokerage fees, right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to take out your taxes. Depending where you live, it might be more, it might be less. But just to be nice, let's go ahead and do some math. So if we get $49,000 and we take out 15%, right? So we're going to multiply it by 75, so 15% off. We're left with $36,750 as our income after taxes. Okay, great. 37,000, still doable maybe for you, but there's more stuff that we need to take into account. After we take out our taxes, we have a bunch of things that we need to pay for. Depending on your brokerage, you might have a monthly fee. Some brokerages don't have a monthly fee, but what you do have is your association dues, which typically range from $1,000 to $2,000 a year. So let's say it's $1,000 minus 1,000, okay? 35 grand, give or take. Great. We also have to take into account gas. As real estate agents, we drive a lot, right? I live in a smaller city in Chattanooga and I still drive a lot. So if you're in a bigger city, you're probably going to be driving a couple hours a day and you're going to easily waste anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 in gas. So let's just go ahead and take it halfway and say $4,000 in gas. Okay. That leaves us $31,750. All right. Now you got card payments, you got cell phone bills, you got marketing, you got business cards, sign, you got to develop a logo, you got to have a brand. I mean, $31,700 is just the beginning point of where from there you also need to subtract any marketing you do and everything else I already talked about. So yes, you make $49,000, but after every subtraction, you're in the general ballpark of anywhere from $28,000 to $35,000. Does it still sound good for you? For a lot of you, it may still be worth it. And if you think about it in terms of, this is just my education, instead of me paying for college, I am going to go ahead and do this job for a couple years to where I only make around $30,000. And if that's for you, that's a great mindset to have. But for the most part, you are not going to make six figures or more your first year or the first couple years if you're an average agent. The third point that I want to discuss is that it could take a while for your business to get going. A lot of times we are very used to working for a paycheck or working a job that, you work 2 weeks and you get paid at the end of the 2 weeks. You work 2 weeks, you get paid at the end of the 2 weeks. It could be weekly, it could be monthly, but you still have the security of working, getting paid. Working, getting paid. When you're starting real estate, it's a commission-based profession, which means that unless you get a lead and you close them by either selling their house or buying a house for them, you will not get paid at all. So you have to know that you're going to come into this business, you're going to work minimum 40 hours, but most times it's going to be 50, 60, 70 hour weeks because we work the weekends a lot of the times and not make any money, right? Now, depending on your financial situation, you might have a bunch of savings lined up or be like me and I had no savings lined up. I was so broke at the time and I had 3 kids. I had to take the income tax money that I got back while I was working. That money I used to pay to get my license and literally bankroll me for 1 month. And I did not get a closing for 4 to 5 months. I worked a bunch of different jobs to survive while I built my business to get even one closing. And that's something that you have to take into account because depending where you are in your life and how you live your lifestyle and your situation, married, kids, whatever the case may be, you're going to have to take some type of risk while you are building your business. And if you're the type of person that you go all in on something, but if you need to get paid in 1 month, in 3 months, that may not be the case. Now, of course, there's things that you can do. You can join a team and that may fast track you getting paid a little bit more, but you exchange that for the long-term gain and growth that you can have. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of things you have to learn for no pay for anywhere from 3 to 6 to 8 months at a time. And another thing is that the lifestyle is something that people are like, yeah, I want the flexible schedule so that I can take time and see my girl or see my kids or whatever that you want to do with your time. But the reality is that the lifestyle that you want is going to take a while to build to be able to get the lifestyle that you want. What do I mean by that? When you first start off, you're at the mercy of your client. 1, you don't know anything. 2, you don't have a bunch of leads and prospects. So you are pretty much going to work with anyone and everyone to learn, to get paid, and to start growing your business. And what does this mean? This means that, when you get a call at Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning and a buyer wants to see 5 houses, if you haven't gotten paid in a month, guess what you're going to do? You're going to stop what you're doing. You're going to go show that client some houses. You want to get paid. So for the first anywhere 1 to 2 to 3 years, you're going to have to work your butt off so that your business can grow, so that when you get to a certain spot, you can either bring a buyer's agent, you can hire some people to take some of those showings and those things off your plate so that you can have the lifestyle that you want. A misconception that people have when they start the business is that I can automatically have that lifestyle and be super flexible, and that's not the case, not if you want to build your business. The fourth thing I want to discuss is the notion that everything is on your shoulders, right? There is pressure on you. Depending on your situation, if you're a single person and you live with your parents, that's awesome, but everything is still on you. Again, like I've already mentioned, you don't make money until you close on a house. So what does it mean to have this pressure or have everything on your shoulders? Is that yes, you do have people that can help you. Yes, you have a broker that you can ask questions and have people that you can reach out to. But at the end of the day, you need to make the decisions that's going to benefit you. So you're going to have to make decisions on how to educate your client. You're going to have to make financial decisions, decisions on marketing, decisions on growth, and so on and so on. So anything that happens in your business, whether good or bad, is going to fall on you. And I know a lot of people don't like that. They don't like that responsibility of having to make decisions and then everything crumble and it's their fault. A lot of people don't like that type of responsibility. And if that's you and you still want to be an agent, I would suggest maybe first starting off as somebody's assistant or starting off on a team. But for the most part, any decision you make in your business, it's ultimately going to be your fault, whether good or bad, and you have to be okay with that. The fifth reason that it's not a good idea to become a real estate agent, and something that I did not know going into the business, is that real estate is easy, right? If you want to buy a house, you look at the house, you put a contract in, you follow the steps on the contract, you get to the end, you buy the house, everybody signs the documents. What's hard about real estate is all the emotions involved with the purchase of the property. And this is really based on the buyer and the seller and how you or the other agents negotiate and treat each other. Something that people don't talk much about, which I find interesting, is how hard it is emotionally on you. When I first joined real estate, I didn't really know what I was doing like everybody else joining, right? I didn't understand this emotional IQ that's needed to be able to deal with people. And something that I've noticed in the industry is that a lot of people don't grow in their emotional intelligence and they stay like how they came in the profession. What I mean by this is, as I've been in the profession, I've grown and been able to manage my personal emotions and been able to set up expectations for my buyers so that we can have a smooth transactions. But a lot of agents on the other side are still very emotional, and other agents are essentially other people you have to deal with on the daily. So managing everybody's emotions is something that I didn't know was a part of the business. And honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, if I knew it was that big of a deal, I don't know if I were to come into the industry, but I'm glad that I did come in the industry because I've been able to grow a lot as a person with my emotions and controlling my emotions to better serve my clients. But you will get into situations like I've had that everything's going fine, and then all of a sudden your buyer wants to ask something that pisses off the seller. The seller comes back with certain comment to the buyer, and then now the buyer wants to sue the seller because they're not performing or not allowing the buyer to do something. You got to get your broker involved. There's lawyers. I mean, it could be everything's smooth and easy, then spike with, stress and anxiety, and then go down, we close, everything's good to go. Real estate is one of those professions where everything's, going crazy, but it closes just fine at the end, and vice versa. Everything's fine, and then it goes crazy, it doesn't close. It's one of those professions that you need to be emotionally intelligent, and you need to constantly work on yourself so that you can better yourself for your clients. One tip I do have for you is that something that has helped me help my clients is setting correct expectations on what they should expect throughout the whole transaction. So when I first meet with the buyer, what I do is I have a buyer consultation or a seller listing presentation, and I set up expectations. Hey, this is what you can expect. When this happens, this happens. I go through every scenario that I've had in the past or any questions they have, and I set that expectation here. right? So they know that this is the expectation that they're going to get. Now, something that you can do is not over promise, right? You set good expectations and then you over deliver on those good expectations. And by the time you get to the closing table, you've over delivered for them and you're an awesome agent and they're always going to use you. But setting those expectations is going to help tremendously when it comes to dealing with emotions. All right, guys. Well, that's today's video. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions. Real estate is an awesome profession, but I just want to emphasize that it's not easy. It's not for everybody, but it is for anybody that wants to put in the time, that wants to put in the work, that wants to grow and work on themselves and just loves real estate. So if that's you, I encourage you to get your license. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to me, to my social media, to Instagram. I would love to connect with you guys. Until next time, take care and God bless.